Hey guys, it's Regalia and Chill. It's been a while, but we just came back from the GP in Montreal, and we have here the first place winner. All the way from Europe himself, it's Benjamin Bargetzi. And he's going to give us the deck profile of what he used to beat all the top contenders today. So, I would like to have you introduce yourself, Benjamin.
Yeah, so I'm a European player and the team captain of CCG, Europe's strongest team, maybe even the world's. And yeah, so funnily, we had this weekend, we had two GPs, one in Italy and one in Canada. There's a whole funny story how I actually ended up in Canada, which I will put in the comment section below. But funnily, we ended up, me and my team captain Federico, and me and my team friend Federico, ended up winning both Italy and Canada with a kind of similar list, which we actually built independently. So I was super surprised when I saw his deck list in the end, because it was like 80%, 90% the same like mine, but we had never tested together because I was traveling and didn't have access to Untap. So yeah, it's pretty funny that we both came up with this fancy list and won two GPs with it.
And what was the list exactly? What was the ruler?
White Scheherazade list, which gave me the funny idea to call it bananas and cherry, because bananas are white and yellowish. So yeah, it's a bananas cherry list. And yeah, we just both kind of like played a lot around with Lumia, with Aimu, we played around with like Ayu, with aggro. So I'm kind of like, from this background, I started off with aggro decks, like for this GP. I tested Freyla and Scarlet, and what I realized what is really good is actually Bear Magic. Bear Magic on Rachel just breaks Lumia. And after some testings, I started playing a blue Sherry list. That's kind of like trying to Bear Magic Rachel, flicker in a Dole, block Rachel, just kill Rachel and make Lumia cry. So and after that, going from there, you realize that actually the Dole version, where you just spam the board with Doles, is very powerful. And at one point, I was testing for Regalia and Chill guys, because I didn't have cards in the deck when I came to Canada. I realized that basically just having mana open in your opponent's turn for cancel spells, and if they don't cast something, you just cast your Doles, is super powerful. And then after experimenting with blue and white decks, we actually ended up with this thing here.
And we are now going to show you the deck list, and he's going to break it down for us.
So the ruler is Scheherazade, and as you all know, she's good because you have basically 5 more hand cards. Her J-Ruler flip also reminds us kind of like Faeurur, because you summon up to 2 bodies and you take a card from your opponent away, thus really changing the board state. Scheherazade usually is played as a control deck, but as you will see, this deck is actually a tempo deck, a mid-range tempo Scheherazade, which I think is the reason why this list is so good. So for the stories, we have classic cards like Agony that blocks Ayu and aggro, Uprising for stuff that works with the graveyard. This card here, Puppet's Last Days, only works if in this list where you have many Doles. This is self-explanatory, you just use it because you don't have turn 1 drops usually, and this is the best card of the deck, so we don't explain this one. Right off, the best card of this deck is this boy here. He's an 11/11 quick cast 3-drop. So basically you're just quick casting Wybers in your opponent's turn, which is incredibly good because you just block their attacks, and since you can quick cast them, they can attack in your turn, and they're not vulnerable to removal that has not instant speed. Same for my 2-drop, which is Eva. So this is my aggro package. This is my tempo package where I beat my opponent down with those 8 Doles, and the rest of the deck is just there to make sure I have more tempo than you. So blocking your stuff, removing your stuff, having those on board to punch you down, and at one point flip her to just create immense value and make sure you're never gonna get back in this game again.
The soft lock.
This is my replacement for Effigy. So one of the reasons I play this one is because I didn't have a deck when I came to Canada. I didn't have a variant Effigy as well. But then actually when I thought about it, Effigy can be a dead draw. And in a Rachel meta, what you really don't want is a card they can stack on top of your deck that is bad. So later you will see one card I will mention that is terrible, and I should have not played it, because you can actually stack it and it's bad. So Adam is, I call him Adam because he's called Eve, but I mean Adam is much a better name for Eve and Adam. Adam here is just really good because you can actually flip, get him, and if Scheherazade's ability plus him, you can just take 2 cards from your opponent away. So rather than getting an effigy that has not swiftness, you'll just have like one of those on the board, ready to attack, get this Eve out, get Scheherazade out, bounce 2 cards away and hit him in the face. So you don't need an effigy here. You can arguably side one against burn decks like Kirik, but if that's needed, I'll have to test it first. I bet Kirik 2-0 in the top 4 and it was not so hard. Those two, you side them out against anything other than Lumia, but against Lumia just have them for the shackles. One really important thing people don't understand is shackles are not really that good against Scheherazade if they don't play control, which is the reason actually I want to play a tempo list, because you just disrespect shackles. Because if you have 2 or 3 stories open, you already have an 8-8 Eva and an 11-11 patrol, so the shackles don't really scare you that much anymore. It's also good against Imul and other lists that depend a lot on additions. Then our new overlord of the game, Laurite. Laurite is just great. You can stop Scheherazade's flip, you can stop Rachel's tutor ability, you can stop Goddard, just he stops everything in life. And since my list wants to create tempo, I'm just telling you all abilities you're trying to use to kill my Eva or my Patrols are not gonna work anymore. It's also nice to flicker this guy in and just banish him instead of one of your big bodies.
Alright, yeah. Cards do good.
Now comes the trash of my deck. I should have not played this. So I played Sacred Elf, which is a great card usually, but it's just not needed. It dies to True Blade, but I didn't see anyone the whole day would play True Blade, so I made the right meta call. But the problem here is that if you draw this card any other turn than turn 1, it's just bad, because turn 1, even if I don't have a Sacred Elf, I'm just gonna play Approaching the Truth to draw, and from 2 turn onwards I want to flicker in my Eva and just punch you in the face. I don't have time anymore to play this guy. Or girl, I think. So the thing is, this thing is good turn 1 but not needed, and at the same time dies easily to a lot of removal, and it can be stacked on your deck, and trust me, if you turn 6 and he plays Rachel, stacks this on top of your deck, you're gonna cry. So I would not play this. And actually, my friends at Regalia and Chill were harassed by me, asking them if I should play Sacred Elf or Malfi. I ran Sacred Elf, but the obvious correct answer would have been neither of the two. Like, you don't need it. Now we're getting to the fancy stuff. Ryula and Faria Summon. So Ryula can heal your ruler. Basically what you do is you judgment Scheherazade greedy, you put stuff out and you tell your opponent, hey bro, play your final battle. He does that, he or she does that, because otherwise most likely they're going to lose. And then you just playing Ryula, heal your ruler, and you get another flip. And this is too much for them to handle usually. Especially if they're like on super low life, and don't forget Scheherazade flies. At the moment we have almost nothing that flies. Rather than playing a second Ryula, I want to play this card, Faria Summon, because you can tutor Ryula, but as well you can tutor an Eva or a Patrol doll, or you can tutor the addition removal doll. It just seems better than playing 2 Ryula, because Ryula doesn't do anything if your ruler is not dead. So yeah, it just seemed a better choice than playing 2 Ryulas. Going over to the Chants, I play 5 dark green and 5 light green stones. Now comes the light cards. We have Seperation of Fate. So you remember earlier I said that I liked blue because you have Bear Magic to stop Rachel. This is the blue, and this is the white Bear Magic basically. You just play this on Rachel before she dies. Rachel has the ability to tutor, and you don't care. So he basically paid 3 mana for a Resonator that says look at 3 cards from his deck, which is bad. Rachel is not good because of the stacking, Rachel is good because of the tutor. Actually, to be honest, Dylan Hunt is a great player, but the easiest game of the day for me was versus Lumia. Because you just play this on Rachel, you kill Rachel, and his deck just falls apart. So this card is also good against Imul, against Scarlet, it just wrecks decks alone. So I really like it.
Yeah, seems like White's getting a great amount of support.
Yeah, I mostly like for this card, I expected the meta to be Imul, maybe some Ayu, then Sherry and Lumia. And this against Sherry, it's not really that good, I side it out usually. Against the other 3, it's great. So I don't see any reason to not play it. Then we have 3 Flourishing Hope. In my blue list I was playing Millennial Bond. And 3 Bear Magic, 3 Millennial Bond. So basically what I did is I replaced my Bear Magic with Seperation of Fate and a Millennial Bond with Flourishing Hope. Because basically the things you would cancel with Millennial Bond are removal, and this card does the same. You just protect your Resonator. And the other side, of course, is a great ability to remove stuff. And don't forget, this is a tempo list, so what you want is banish his stuff, cancel his stuff, blow up his board, and just punch with your stupid dolls. And this card actually protects your dolls and banishes his stuff, so you can go face again. So I think the deck needs some training, and the important thing is to have a balance between aggression and control. You have to switch between the styles. The main reason being this card here. If you play too greedy and you just get final battle, you will lose the game. And if you don't see your Ryula, then yeah, that was it. So you have to have a good tempo. You shouldn't be too aggressive, but also not too slow. That requires training. I didn't have the training, but I was lucky enough to yeah, pilot the deck properly.
Figure it out.
And yeah, of course you play 3 final battle yourself. I saw people playing 1 or 2. I think 3 is the right choice. A, because the artwork is great, and B, because the card is great. Like, you cannot imagine how sad your opponent is if his last hope is like trying to stall you and draw an answer to your board. You just blow up his board and punch him in the face for 22. And that's not something uncommon to happen. Like, you have 1 Eva and 1 Petrol Doll, and you punch them for 2-1 in the face. And yeah, most people are not gonna come back from this. Then I was initially playing Shawu Jing, but Shawu Jing costs 3 mana. I don't have 3 mana because it's a tempo list, because I want to play my stuff early, my dolls, and just punch in the face. I don't have time for a Shawu Jing, so I replaced Shawu Jing with Thought Control, which doesn't kill Severing, which doesn't kill the Blazer Thief, but yeah, you can take away many answers, especially Final Battle.
It didn't hurt you to just play 3? You wouldn't have maxed out with Thought Control? Seeing an early game?
The problem is, like, Thought Control doesn't change the board. So Thought Control changes the hands and thus the future board, but not the board itself. So I thought running 4 is like dangerous. Best example, I played against 1 Sherry Mirror, and the guy had like 2 Thought Control early, but he lost because he was Thought Controlling my hand. In response, I played my Eva, and he just used his resources to control my hand, but he didn't have an answer to the board. And I was just punching him. And at one point, he had little life point. He had to flip his Scheherazade. I final battle him. I flip. He didn't have life points enough to kill my board. He lost the game. So here we see how Thought Control is actually a really good way to influence the game. But if you rely too much on this card, you're not doing anything. That's the reason also why discard decks didn't beat Faeurur. Because you need to handle the board, not the hand of Faeurur. And it's kind of the similar logic here. But we play in a slower meta now than Faeurur times. So it's a legit card, but I think you shouldn't max out on it. I might be one day. It depends how the meta develops now. And the last card, which is a great card now, but terrible for me as a Scheherazade player, are for Faeurur spell. No reason not to max out. Anything that kills your dolls gets cancelled. In the mirror, you just cancel the dolls because they have quick cast. And yeah, that's the second target for Thought Control. I play this card actually to steal this from you and to steal final battles from you. And if you don't have either of them, I most likely win anyway, and then I take Laurites or stuff. So yeah, that's were 4 cancel spells. There's another 3 I want to show off. My beautiful GP promos. Actually, I have 2 more, but I forgot to bring them. So yeah, I play 3 just because I want to max out on Faeurur spell, and I think running 8 cancel spells is too much, but I might change that opinion. For me, 3 worked perfectly fine. Yeah, 2 would be too little, so 3 or 4 is the right number. Alright. And my last 2 cards, Ruin Story. I ran only 2 main, 1 in the sides. I did that allegedly because I didn't have time to test this deck. I just built this deck 3 AM, and Regalia and Chill can confirm it, in their room, throwing together some random stuff I built for testing.
It's true. And
yeah, so I kind of like, I didn't know if Ruin Story is that good or not in the end, in my new list, because I've never tested the white list, the white cherry list before. So I just took 1 in the side in case I realized during the GP this card is good, I should play it. And every single game 2 I sided in a third one. So yeah, go up to 3 and 1 in the extra deck, max it out.
Alright, so what was your stone up like?
Excuse me?
Your stone lineup like?
My stone logo was just like 5 green white and 5 green black.
All right. Yeah. So unfortunately, we did have a lot of mix and matching with this deck. So could you give us a breakdown of what your sideboard basically took care of?
I was not sure what to be scared of, so I just saw I play light. So if you play light, you just play 4 sides for IU and for aggro decks. However, I played IU and aggro in this GP, and I didn't need 4 sides, so I think you can use these slots differently. I also played Miscalculation, which seemed good, but I didn't like it, because this deck tells you, like, here, 11-11, give me an answer, right? And so kind of like, yeah, I didn't really use anything that stops you from doing damage to me, because you are the person who is constantly trying to survive, not me. However, now that I think many people net deck the lists from me and Federico, yeah, maybe Miscalculation becomes a better choice again.
Alright, so do you have anything else to say to our viewers before we have to wrap this up?
Scheherazade is this Gusting deck, but it's really cool to play if you play it in a tempo style. So yeah, I'm looking forward to London GP, which is my next GP, but there's one more in Minneapolis before, so I'm really getting excited to see how this works out. I saw some pretty interesting IMO lists in this tournament. I'm not sure how, they're of course really good against Lumia, but they got wrecked by Sherry badly. I wonder if they can adapt to that, and yeah, I think the company could have banned Lumia just because it's so popular, but I don't think they needed to, because I don't think Rachel is good and I don't think Lumia is good. That's a big statement, but yeah, Dolls and Face is better.
Alright, well once again we would like to thank Ben for giving us this deck profile. He's been a great person to hang out with and a great player. No doubt, he just came in and just swept the competition. There was a major upsets in this tournament too. We didn't really see any of our local pro players make any tops in the event, so it was a very surprising outcome. But nonetheless, you played very well, and like I said, you had a great build, and I'm glad you could share it with us. And like I said, hopefully you guys can check out more content from Regalia and Chill, and make sure you check his team out and follow us. And
CCG, Complexity Card Gaming.
And then follow the CCG. How do you say that?
Complexity Card Gaming.
Complexity Card Gaming.
It's a weird name, but our sponsor wants the name, so I'll go with it.
But yes, thanks again, and of course, check us out. We'll be posting more videos, deck profiles, and strategies. And this has been Regalia and Chill. And like, comment, and subscribe, and look forward for more content. Thank you.
If you want, you can send me private messages on Facebook for more questions. I'll be traveling in Canada now for 2 weeks, and after that I'll get back to you.
Alright.
Bye.
See you guys.